Sponsored by rxcardclub.com. Get a free prescription drug card and save up to 85% on prescription drugs. rxcardclub.com. How the Denver Bulldogs emerged as Aussie rules football powerhouse, community beacon over last 25 years. Around midnight in the parking lot of a Denver bar a quarter century ago, the Colorado version of a classic Australian sport was born. Paul Renouf and his buddies were watching the Australian Football League's grand final that night and decided to have a kick under the light poles at halftime of footy's Super Bowl. And thus the seeds of the Denver Bulldogs were planted. "We didn't ever plan to start a team," Renouf said. "From that, here 25 years later, we have a women's team, 2 or 3 men's teams we take to nationals, and over 100 players traveling to tournaments. It steamrolled. People love it. And a lot of people who came out to play at the beginning stayed. Now this thing we started that was just to go play a game of footy has turned into a club, a culture and a community." The Bulldogs' first official game was at a tournament in California in 1999. In the time since, they've become the most successful club in the United States Australian Football League, winning 8 Division I national titles on the men's side and 6 more for the women, whose team was founded in 2008. The club's namesake is the Western Bulldogs, an Australian Football League professional club. It was there that Melbourne native Renouf secured Denver's original jerseys, giving the Bulldogs a tangible brand to compete in the physical, fast-paced game that's immensely popular down under. "I happened to stop by the club one weekend when I was down there on a business trip in Melbourne," Renouf recalled. "I popped over to the Western Bulldogs headquarters, told them we started up a team in Denver, showed them a picture of us. They said, 'Ah, great.' And they sent me down to the equipment guy and said, 'See what you can give this fella.' I took 2 big nylon sacks of probably about 30 used jerseys back home on my flight. The rest is history." The Bulldogs formed a few years after the genesis of the USFL in 1996, with the league's first game featuring clubs from Cincinnati and Louisville. The first USFL national tournament was held the following year and soon transformed into a critical driver of the league's explosive development. Nationals was really the magnet for the growth of the league because teams were formed during the year, would play some pickup games, ad hoc tournaments and things like that, but the goal for all the clubs was to get a big enough team to go to nationals, said Rich Mann, one of the league's founders and a former Bulldogs player. The league does regional qualifiers throughout the year. It has some traditional tournaments and invitationals that teams will go to, but ultimately every team is gearing themselves up to try to win nationals. At our first nationals in Cincinnati, we had 5 teams. By 2000, only our 4th nationals, we had 16 clubs. The Bulldogs won their first men's Division I national title in 2000, four-peated from 2002-05, and added crowns in 07, 09 and 11.